let's assume for a moment, let's take the sinister approach, that years ago, the power brokers on this planet, we call it the Illuminati for lack of a better phrase, decided that there were two main things they had to accomplish on this planet. One was population control, controlling people, and the other was reducing the population. They saw the planet starting to use its resources, and they said, and they probably have actuarial tables, they probably said, we can't support 6.5 billion people, soon to be 9 billion people. We can support quite well for almost an endless amount of time, 500 million, if we keep it at that level. We want to have a one world government, but we're going to do it all with 500 million people. Now, the plan is twofold. One is, how do we get rid of the 500 million, the rest of the billion, right? The 6 billion people, and keep the 500 million. And then, where are we going to go when the calamity occurs? Mm-hmm. So let's assume they decided to build structures like the Denver airport, where down below 100,000 people might be able to live very comfortably for a year or two or three, while the rest of the people on the planet bake and cinder. If you believe in a sinister theory, then you have to take it the full way and believe that what these facilities are doing underground are to prepare themselves for this horrible, horrible apocalypse.
I would have to say that I do not disagree with anything that you just said. I think that that's about the most succinct analysis I've heard of the situation. I think that's pretty much exactly what they're doing. I think a few of them escape out and try to give us messages about this, and, you know, God love them for that. And that's why I say that, you know, it's time for us to start taking care of ourselves, because I think, you know, even like Katrina showed that they're cutting us loose. They don't really want to help us anymore. And when Katrina happened, we were living in the city of Seattle, and I just got out. You know, I moved out into the woods because I realized that I do not want to be in Seattle when a calamity happens, because I know that the federal government is not going to be there to help us, just like they weren't there in Katrina in New Orleans. And so, yes, I think that is fairly obviously the scenario that is about to unfold, and we have to do what we can to inform each other about what is about to happen, and to do everything we can to avert this. And, you know, human beings are the greatest resource that this planet's ever created. I agree that the environmental strains are severe, but who gets to say who lives and who dies, and by what right and what divine right do they have to make this decision? And I think that's really probably the main reason that Sharon and I made 2012 The Odyssey, was to evoke this message out there that there is some funny business going on, and it's up to us to decide who and what we want to be and do in the next few years as we approach 2012. Interesting.
Well, the elitists, Jay, will be the ones, but they're going to need to have millions of workers to continue to fulfill their mission after it's done.
Yes. So that would seem to be that there's only really going to be maybe 50 million elitists and 450 million workers, right?
I'm not sure about that, though, because I think the elitists will then panic, thinking that the workers one day will overthrow them.
Absolutely. And, of course, if these elitists are this kind of bloodthirsty types, they're going to go after each other also. How can they really trust each other even when they've just committed such a Holocaust? And so they also have to deal with that. I mean, there's a high level of treachery that would be going on at the top that would seem to create a very chaotic situation. So this thing is not written in stone. This thing is not already decided. It's a plan.
All right, stay with us, Jay, because